What?
My stupid computer.
No, I think we're good. And this will be comical because this will be like one for the highlight reel. Oh, there, you're live.
Yes, we are back. Yes, Carcass is small. We are back. It's episode 55 of the
It
Metal
is?
Roundtable. I am Metal Rob, and with me, as always, is the great
Carcass John.
Yeah, look at that, Carcass John.
I'm practicing safe distancing with myself.
Yes, I see that. Hey, and also with us today, we've got a little bit of house cleaning to do for the show. Pop on with us, Monkey Butt. Hey, our producer is back. He is in Michigan. The KVGI studios have moved from Frisco, Texas to parts unknown in the great state of Michigan. Can you see any bodies of water from your place?
No, not unless it rains.
Oh, okay.
Well, for exception that there is a, 8 foot by 8 foot, 2 feet high pool out in the back.
Oh, there you go.
It's for the dogs, though.
Nice. So Monkey Butt has moved to Michigan and is currently working on his brand new KVGI.com studio. And how are things coming with you, brother?
It's doing very good. I have, we've been here for a little while. I've been working on getting the business transferred and changed over and moved to KVGI Media and creating a physical office in the studio right now. So I've got all kinds of new equipment coming in the next week or two. I'm currently day 2 or 3 in this office as working. I've been sharing my wife's office for the last month and a half. And that's fun too. I miss her, but at the same time, I get to come in here and be loud and obnoxious and party with you guys.
You mean you get to be yourself?
I didn't say that.
It's been a long time, Monkey Butt.
It has been a long time.
We miss you,
dude. It's been over 6 months. Can you believe it?
Wow, 6 months since we've been in studio?
No, it's probably been
maybe 4.
Maybe 4 months.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It sounds better at 6 though.
It's been a while though. I'm glad to have you back, man. This is fantastic, and thank you so much for hosting us as you've always done.
Well,
you misspelled your name, but I didn't mean to point that out live on the air.
No, you're good. You guys are live on Facebook and you're live on your YouTube channel for both KVGI and the Metal Roundtable. And people can post questions and comments down on Facebook or YouTube, and we will see them. And if they're there, we will show them like this, and it'll show their picture and say, "Hey, you're live." But if you don't comment, we can't recognize.
Yeah.
We can't respond. We don't read minds. We just talk about stuff.
That's right. Well, let's do a quick round of shout outs. Monkey Butt, you got anybody you want to shout out?
Not really. And here we go. There's one right there. Greg Spicoli.
Yay!
That is
and he says, "Hello, gentlemen."
That is the great Spicoli.
Hold a second. Hold the phone.
The ticket.
You guys are gentlemen?
What?
Hey, we're gentlemen. I mean, what can you say about that?
That's right. That's right. Rob, Frank, I have you. Yes, Frank, I have you. That's my brother. The singer of Exit 51. Delicious local cover band.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I like it. That's a new feature that we have now.
I dig it.
Carcass, give us a shout out, brother.
Well, I tell you what, I met with the, I was going to say the former governor of Texas, but he's really not. He's the enigmatic Rick Perry, who's also the guitarist of Warlock, Puncture, War Beast, Gamacide, and now of the mighty Iron Jaw. They have a new album dropping, and we're working on artwork right now. It's going to be freaking awesome.
He's
And,
coming on the show soon too.
And he's going to be on the show soon. We just need to get him on when all the stars and planets align up. And so, shout out to the Governor Rick Perry and the members of Iron Jaw, and look forward to the first live show with the new record. And actually, there's some venues around here that are going to try and change themselves from being a bar to a restaurant so they can be open. So that ought to be interesting.
Yeah, Lava Cantina was talking about that, so that'll be good.
Yep.
My shout out has to do with my T-shirt. I want to give a shout out to the Art of Orr, ORR.
Mighty Casey Orr.
The mighty Casey Orr. He has not struck out. He has, in fact, provided me with the opportunity to not only buy this cool T-shirt while I've been in lockdown, and I encourage you highly to support your musicians and bands. If they're selling stuff, hop online. I got a nice limited print. This was my favorite one that I chose. They are signed and numbered. If you can kind of see that down there, I don't know. Yeah, a little bit. So
he's got a pretty cool book out too that you might want to check out.
I got number 30 of 30, and it came with a cool pin.
Sweet.
I know, dude. It was like $50 for the whole deal.
That's a bargain.
That is a bargain. So
it keeps an artist alive. Good job.
Yep. So I was pleased to get that. So shout out to the mighty Casey Orr of Guar, Burden Brothers, Hellions,
War Beast,
the
Scotchinators.
Yep.
You could just name a band, and he's probably played bass at least once.
You could. Now check it out. So we've done shout outs. We've got Monkey Butt producing, which just makes me super happy. We got the logo going. I see the logo up there. Man, this rules. It's like old home week. So what we are going to talk about this week.
Wait.
Oh,
you're not going to talk about my shirt?
Oh, crap.
I wore the most unreadable logo on the planet. I don't even know what this band's name is.
Well,
it's about this long.
Okay.
That's a real logo from a real band. I think they're from South Africa, and their name is literally that long.
I couldn't have read that in 1,000 tries.
It looks like scribble.
It looks
like a pile of sticks.
Yeah. Somebody vomited twigs on your shirt.
Mission accomplished.
Twigs.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay, mission accomplished. I don't even know how to pronounce their name.
Sticks and stones may break your bones.
But they're heavy, as you could well imagine.
Well, I need to see it spelled out somewhere. Then I'll believe it.
I'll get your printout.
I think that's a gag shirt.
It's not a gag shirt. I promise you, these guys are legit.
Nice.
Well, I mean, whatever.
I cannot read Carcass's shirt. How quickly?
Yes, success on the metal round table.
Mine is very readable as usual. So there are several things going on these days. We have a website. It's a very simple website, but all we need is a launch pad. It'll show you some of our fine work, and it will take you to several different links of people that we love and support. It is themetalroundtable.com if you want to go there and check that out. Once again, pretty simple, but we do have a website now, so I'm fired up about that. So
I dig it.
I did do something productive in lockdown. What we're going to take you through today is the history of our lifetime in different forms of music media, or different media.
Meteorites. Music media. I think you're right there.
So
you're not a medium. You're not reading or doing tea leaf readings.
So,
anyway.
Yeah, right. So the Carcass is the elder statesman of the group. So what was the first music medium that you purchased?
The first music medium that I purchased, I happen to have right here next to me at the desk.
Is it the one you bought, or is it a replacement?
No. These are the original. These are original copies. And so here's the first record I ever bought with my own money for $2.98. no tax because it was at the base commissary. It was
Grand Funk. Shining
shining
on.
on, and I still didn't take the 3D glasses out, but the inner sleeve is 3D, the back is 3D, the front's 3D. It's really pretty cool. And on that same day,
I knew that one. Yep.
I think I've mentioned this before, but those were my first two purchases. And the reason why I bought it is because it had a song called Rat Salad, and I got curious. And
what Rat Salad was all about.
And while we're at it, I went ahead and brought the next two purchases after that, just so I can say the Sabbath first record and Deep Purple Machine Head.
Nice.
And then we got melodic, and I got Aerosmith Get Your Wings and another Grand Funk record. So you can probably say that Grand Funk and Black Sabbath were kind of the kingpins,
right,
getting me into buying music.
So the first form of music that I remember buying or remember having, I remember checking out all my dad's records. I remember Debbie Boone and the Carpenters and Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings. And so it was all about vinyl for me to start out. And as a matter of fact, it was 45s. We didn't call them 7 inches back then. They were 45s. And I had one, and I don't remember what the dude's name is, but he sang a song called The Little Shack Out Back or something like that. Ode to the Little Brown Shack was the name of it. And so 45s and vinyl records were my first were the first pieces of music that I listened to and had. And somewhere in there, and help me out, when did 8-tracks fall into all this? Because vinyl.
Well, that was the thing about the music, is that, you know, listening to a record was a commitment because you had to sit down. It wasn't very portable. And when the 8-track hit, it was like, wow, now I can take ZZ Top in the car with me if you had an 8-track player. And most of the older cars came with an 8-track or I guess you could special order a cassette, which came a little bit later.
Right. And I remember I never collected 8-tracks. I didn't really own those until later, like if I found a Kiss one, I would pick it up or whatever. But I remember riding around on the floor of my parents' VW van listening to John Denver and Little Richard.
Well, now it's all becoming clear now why you turned out the way you did.
Okay, hang on. Frank is chiming in. You had Mom and Dad pick up Back in Black on vinyl from Safeway. That's exactly right.
I remember.
Now, that was one of the first records that I bought with my own money. But so 8-tracks were very short-lived for me. I never really had a collection. Did you have an 8-track collection?
Well, I Monkey Butt says I did, but I had some. But then what I liked about the 8-track is they were big. You could read what was playing at the time. And it had the track listing on it, and it was like an all-inclusive, and you didn't really need the cover, and you had all the information that you needed. But the sound, they didn't last very long. The sound quality wasn't great. And then when the cassette was a game changer.
Okay, I got a question for you guys.
Okay.
So when you think about musical history and media, right? So I did reel to reel. That's when I grew up. My dad had, if you guys remember, 78s. So modern world, you had 33s and 45s. But before that, you had ceramic players, which was a vinyl, like a vinyl disc, but ceramic. And it was 78.
I don't remember that.
No, I do remember. I do remember. I remember my great grandparents, and I was young, like 2 or 3 or 4 years old.
My dad had a large collection. He had over 100 of those. And if you
were they tubes?
If it's together and you went like this, it'd break. I mean, it's ceramic.
Yeah.
So the tube looking thing.
Right. No.
Okay.
But it was
actually, they were like what did they call those?
They're called ceramic disc.
Yeah. I remember the tube that they would load in and it would spin and
yes. But here's my question: between the vinyl records,
Mhm.
no, I'm sorry, no, between 8-track tapes and cassette tapes, there was another media that came out. They tried it. They did make it. It was very limited production. I had 2 of the devices and the portable player because that's the only way you could do it.
Was it
Do
the
you remember
DAT?
what that is?
Was it digital audio tape?
That was later.
Hmm.
No, you're probably not going to get it because
Was it like a mini cassette?
Was it the 4-track? 2-track? I don't even know what that is.
I think Monkey Butt is
stuff to jump here. 2-track players back in the late 60s, early 70s. It's like an 8-track. It was the portable version, had 1 track on each side. And I had 1 2-track of 2 Beatles songs. And on the other one, I had Waylon Jennings.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't even know that existed. The first thing that came onto my radar with vinyl was this compilation from K-Tel called Dimension. Now, this was the first thing that I remember owning. Now, I don't think I bought it. I think my parents bought it for me. And here we go. Juice Newton, Rick Springfield, Billy Squire, Pat Benatar, the Climax Blues Band, Gary Wright, Manhattan Transfer, Greg Ken Band, Air Supply. You know, it just goes.
Hey, please. Hey, can you please talk about Nuff's Enough or Dawkins or something?
We'll get there.
Okay.
Oh, I got something special for you, buddy. So this was, once I got into records and owning something, this was kind of the first one that I got. And then where did we go from there? 8 cassettes, I guess, came next, right?
Cassettes. And the compact disc didn't really start until the early 80s.
Right.
I know Denon had a cassette or a compact disc player, but the cassettes, see, to me, these, like I said, these were game changers. And the reason, and in fact, here's the first cassette I ever bought. Montrose Paper Money, and it had this weird pull out. It was like one piece, and then the very next week, here's another weirdo that I have from the. It's Hendrix. Hendrix, Are You Experienced on cassette, and this was actually on an Ampex cassette, which
oh wow.
They were like super high fidelity.
Yeah, that was a huge tape manufacturer for like 2-inch tape.
Right. And speaking of which, there was a guy named Tom. There was a Thompson Electronics, and what they would do is they would take master tapes. In fact, it says on the back, "Computer Mastering Control."
Ooh.
And they would put out basically top albums or greatest hit compilations on a cassette. And it even had their name Thompson, and they manufactured their own cassettes, and it was like super high fidelity stuff. It was like a half-speed master recording for cassette. But the reason I loved cassettes was because it, like I said, it made your music portable.
Yeah.
Now you could take Ted Nugent and play Stranglehold through your 6x9s in the station wagon at a high volume on your Kraco amp and graphic equalizer, and you could be rocking down the street. And I don't know how many days that I would take the long way home just so I could listen to the car stereo.
Oh my God! And the cassettes were a game changer. You're absolutely right, because records weren't portable. I never had a ton of records, but when tapes got to be big. Or for me, when they got to be big for me, I had a million of these because you could put one in your back pocket and one in your front pocket, and you could run around with, and then the mixtapes came. This happens to be a demo from a 90s Dallas band called Savant, by the way. But cassettes, that was the first real collection that I had, which led me into discs later. Can you put that question back up, Monkey Butt, that last question from TJ, or that comment that he made? Are you seeing this, Carcass? So TJ Lewis from Forebode checking in. His first music video purchase was a CD, which tells you how young he is.
Yeah.
Kept stealing his dad's copy of Sergeant Pepper's. That's awesome.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Sergeant Pepper's was an awesome album, including the art.
Yeah, everything about it. But I agree with you, Carcass. Cassettes were a game changer. But then we got to and to this day, my favorite. Yes, vinyl's great. Whoopee. Cassettes are great. Yeah. Give me the CD, baby. Even today, right now. And this just happens to be Johnny Solinger from Dallas.
Yep.
Sang in Skid Row. So this is the biggest collection I've ever had. I had a lot of records for a long time. I still have a lot of records. But just to my right, gosh, there's 1,300 CDs right there. This to me is the best sounding. It was almost as portable as cassettes, because cassettes were a little smaller. No, I'm right. CDs sound better.
Okay. Well,
Fight me.
okay. I would fight you. Well, no, you're my friend. I wouldn't fight you.
I would need a step stool.
Well, let's clarify the sound. Now, are compact discs cleaner? Yes. Now, fidelity-wise,
twice the dynamic range of a vinyl record.
Says he who masters a lot of stuff for vinyl records.
Oh, I do. Yeah. No.
So and why the resurgence in vinyl? Is it just a novelty?
I wouldn't say it's a novelty. Here's the way I would explain
that.
Here's the way that I would explain that. Stuff that was recorded on analog to come out on an analog format sounds fantastic on vinyl. Yes, you go play your Pink Floyd records and your Zeppelin records and your Hendrix records. Yes, absolutely. It was the top thing you could get in the day. Now, there's a reason that on the back of these, it says you may hear the limitations of the original analog recording, blah, blah, blah. It's because the CD could pick it up and hear it. And it was scanning at a super high bit rate and all that. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. It's a matter of preference. To my ears, give me a CD. But if I'm going to kick back with a nice beverage and put on some Pink Floyd, I'm dragging out the vinyl.
Okay, and to TJ's...
There's a high nostalgia factor.
Right, and now TJ Lewis, again, of our house band Forebode, just said he used to stare at the artwork all the time. Now, I will admit that's the one thing that's been lacking with CD is the fact that, I mean, look at the difference. There's the grandeur of this, and then there's a bit of that. But I pulled this out because
Monkey Butt's going to show us some digital files.
Because look at this.
Yeah,
this is an album called Pulse. It's on CD, and look how cool this is. They give you a lot to see. They have page after page with the CD in them. So they're hearkening back to the idea of vinyl and giving you something to look at. I pulled this tool out because it's got these glasses that you shape the package, yeah, and you can see weird images. And of course, what would it be an episode where I didn't show Osric tentacles?
Oh Lord!
This is actually check this out. This is a live greatest hits that they did, and what they did is they surrounded it with this gooey green liquid and put little fish in there that would float around, and you'd push them around and they'd float.
That's cool.
But see, they're trying to add to the excitement of owning a CD. And this, of course, I think I've mentioned this before. This was a hand painted bag by John, who played some of the woodwind instruments for them early on, and this is number 10 of 42, as you can see. But each bag, this is a hemp bag. Oh, shocking! I know, but so even CDs have tried to harken back to the grandeur of that. I mean, look how bold that is. I mean, this is a piece of art. You can hang it on your wall, and I have hundreds hanging on my wall.
Yeah.
But just for that reason is that they're big. And it's hard to hang that on your wall.
Oh,
Although,
I don't
that's
disagree.
cool.
I don't disagree with the grandeur and the greatness of vinyl. I'm just talking about me, my preference. I collect more. I've got tons more room for CDs, but I've still got hundreds of records over there.
And I think to your point too, as I rearrange my house due to my circumstances being different, I have a system downstairs that's just rock and roll. It's basically an analog, 2 speakers, and a lot of power, and that's what I listen to: Nugent, Aerosmith, Deep Purple, Angel, name a '70s band, Max Webster, Rush, Led Zeppelin, and it just sounds better that way. And now I have a big 4-speaker system upstairs that's more conducive to the more modern digital sound, and it just sounds, the stuff sounds better up there. And then I have a crazy system that you've seen before, that B&O system that our illustrious lawyer gave me for the price of haul it off and help me clean the closet. And there are certain things, mostly electronica, that sounds really cool on that. So
oh man,
hey Rob, COVID well, what's going on over there?
Gosh.
But anyway, so I think the system also lends to the medium that you're listening to. I mean, I have a system that the cassette just doesn't sound that great on, but the one upstairs, man, it sounds killer up there.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I've got, you tune everything to the way you like it. And I've got three different systems in the house, and one of them I love CDs. The one that's in here that I monitor everything on, it sounds pretty good for everything. But then the one that's right here that you can't see, that my laptop is resting on right now,
I think John's right.
Great for radio. It's great for CDs. It's not great for records and tapes.
Well, there's I don't have it all set up here, but when I was in Texas, I have a 9.2. So it's actually 11.2, but I didn't have everything up. You have the surround backs, the surround fronts, and your incremental fronts and your main fronts. So you have a lot of little. It's hard to get certain songs to sound right with different speakers that have a presence or a surround. So a lot of times I can go and switch it to 2 speakers, right? Just so you have a subwoofer and you have 2 speakers, because it sounds better coming out of the vocals than having vocals surrounded by you. That wasn't
recorded in stereo. Yeah, I've got my receiver in here is surround, but I never take it off a 2-channel. So it's 2-channel plus sub.
But there are some bands that are starting to, like, I know that some of the Pink Floyds have come out in a 5.1 format. Opeth has done 5.1. Arch Enemy did a couple of 5.1 recordings, and they sound cool. But I just like the blasting of it. When you go to see most bands that I think the first band that I ever saw that did something in surround or in something beyond stereo was Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and it was just a small snippet where they had this sound just kind of traversing in a circle around the arena, and it just got faster and faster. But it was just
mine was the Moody Blues.
Or Roger Waters a couple of years ago.
But for the most part, your sound comes from here. Everything's backlined and it's protruding from the stage, and so I mean, most of the older music, that's what I like listening to. I mean, that's the way I like it. And
back to different types of music media. One of my favorites that didn't make it, that was about as portable as a cassette, sounded almost as good as a compact disc. I challenge you if you think you can hear the difference. I say not. And then we'll move into digital here toward the end. But one of my favorites that didn't make it, and here you go. You know what that is?
I think I've got a couple of those too. Is it like a DVD?
The mini disc.
Oh, the mini disc. Sure.
I loved the mini disc, but it happened so fast and was gone so fast in the States. I still have a mini disc player here in case I need to master something.
I never got into that.
A mini disc. I love it. It's a little wider than a cassette. You got the full booklet, just like a CD. If I can get the stupid case open again.
I got
was that a full album? Was that like a
Yeah?
Oh,
No, it was
okay.
the whole album. I saw it at Best Buy here in McKinney. They had a stand, and there were maybe 30 releases available. But yeah, you get the full, you get the full booklet. They reformatted a little bit for, the smaller
Right.
size. It's, I guess it's 2x3 maybe. But what was cool about this from a home recording standpoint, the coolest thing since our cassette decks that we could make mixtapes on was you could take this. Oh, and this is a commercial one, obviously. So it's even got the songs printed on the back. But it's a little spinning digital disc inside there, a little optical disc inside there. So, but the cool thing about this, if you had a home deck and you bought a bunch of blanks, it was highly editable. You could name the songs, you could move tracks, you could do fade ins and fade outs, and it was easy to crop stuff. It was really, really cool. And I mastered to it very briefly until I found out that it was a compressed format. And so I didn't want to go backwards. Now, again, I think dogs would hear the difference because it was nice enough quality. But I was able to get away with that when I very first had a recording studio and needed something cheap. And this failed. And in the meantime, CDs kept going, vinyl resurged. But after, around the time this was dying, what Monkey Butt showed us just a minute ago, here you go. Well, there's my wife. She doesn't carry that many songs, but now you've got, why is it doing
digital?
That's weird. Yeah, digital. And I've got 22,000 songs on my phone.
Hey, you guys. So I was just looking up something while you guys were talking. Cassette tapes or 8-tracks? Which one came first?
Probably, if you bring it up, you said 8-tracks, cassettes came first.
That's correct.
Cassette
1962 was the cassette tape. And then in 1968 65. So 2 years later was the 8-track. And then I'm sitting here looking at things that we missed. So there in 69, for 1 year, there was the micro cassette, or also called the mini cassette.
Mm-hmm.
And then 8-tracks came back out in 1970 again, and they called it the quadraphonic 8-track, Quad 8.
Right. It had a tab that allowed 4 separate speakers to have 4. It was like a 5.1, except it was 4.0, basically.
And I never got the quad thing. I had a quad receiver, but I never had the right gear to set it all up. And I've never heard a quadraphonic recording.
My uncle Johnny had a quad receiver, and I heard Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon in quad, and it was pretty impressive.
So I just realized something new. I've heard of quadraphonic, but I never knew that they had a quadraphonic vinyl record, CD4. Came out in 1971.
Yep.
CD.
Yeah, they call it CD4. It's called the quadraphonic vinyl record.
Mm-hmm.
It recorded on both stereo channels, requiring the decoder to hear all 4 tracks, despite the format or any turntable format.
Right, and if you bought a quad record and you didn't have the quad setup, it would just play as stereo.
Yeah, just 2 yeah, exactly. Yeah, I never heard of that.
Because I have some quad records in my collection, but they sound just like really good stereo. They're like a half-speed mastered pressing. I mean, which sounds really good.
Well, and everybody can argue what sounds the best. Like, one of the things that I dabbled with recently that you ended up with was I ended up with a couple of reel players, a couple of reel-to-reel decks. And I bought a couple of tapes. It wasn't for me. I thought it was okay. I had a couple of commercially recorded things. I still have a Big Brother and the Holding Company tape in there, but I gave you my Grand Funk tape, and I don't remember what else.
The Hendrix, did you give that back? The greatest hits?
I think I gave it to you.
Okay.
It's a required sound because it's like vinyl records. You have to appreciate the sound of what's coming through it.
Well,
I couldn't get into it. I thought it was noisy.
Plus it's a commitment. Once again, The idea of a cassette or an 8-track is it's portable, but the reel-to-reel, not portable at all.
Maintenance on it too.
Yeah, well, unless you had a VW van and you had the shag carpet and the little blue window back there, and then you could install a reel-to-reel. I saw
you could get reel-to-reel, and you could get a photo player, and Cadillacs put phono players in their cars.
I remember seeing. I've heard of it.
I would like in there too.
I've seen pictures of that. So reel-to-reel never caught on for me. Vinyl did catch on for me. Cassettes and CDs caught on huge for me. I'm still doing so much with recordable CDs to this day. And then digital caught on big for me for a while, but not for collecting purposes. I would go out and find stuff on digital that had not been re-released, but give me the physical copy. I don't care what it is. If I can find it on vinyl or CD or whatever, cassette, if I absolutely can't find it on anything else, but I want the physical product. I love the portability of carrying it on my phone and having all those songs at my fingertips and, connect it to the truck. And you can listen to hundreds and hundreds of albums. That's cool, but nothing to me is going to be better than CDs ever. What's your favorite, Carcass?
Well, I've sort of come around on the digital thing because I think I told you a million times that ever since I came back from Amsterdam, it's changed my perspective on music. And they do a lot of digital over there because they're not putting out physical product, and that's the way you get it. You get it off their Bandcamp or off their page or their web page or whatever. And to me, you could buy an album for $3 or $4 with zero overhead and help somebody out just as much as buying a physical copy if there was one available. But to your point, I like to have the physical copy, right? And I love it when vinyl comes. If my choice is a CD or vinyl with a digital download, I'm buying the vinyl every time because I'll download it so it's portable the way I wanted it, and then I have that ability to play a record.
And see, I like having the CD because not only Eddie Trunk made this point on that metal show one time, and I thought this was the greatest point that validated me loving CDs was it's digital. You can rip it any way you want. And being a studio mastering guy, I want to rip it at high quality. I either want the wave or if it's an MP3 file for my phone, it's got to be 320, the max bit rate.
Sure.
It'll sound nice, but also it sits on the shelf. I've got a hard copy, digital backup, and that's it. I've got it forever. If you scratch that record, you're done.
Pretty much. But if you keep a copy of the download, and the reason I like about the MP3, MP4 formats is that they don't take up much space on your phone, and you can pack more portability on. Like when I travel, I listen to my phone. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And unlike some people that want to Spotify or do whatever, and that's fine if that's what you want to do. I want to own the song. I want to make my own playlist. I don't want to be subjugated to somebody saying, "Oh, well, if you like Led Zeppelin, then you'll like Avenged Sevenfold." No, I won't. So I'm not going to put it on there. So that's what I like about MP3, MP4 is that they don't take up much space. They're portable. They sound decent. They are a compressed format, but like you said, a dog can hear the difference probably. Right. In fact, some of the digital stuff sounds really great in my car, wherein the analog stuff sounds average.
And everything in the past 20, almost 25 years probably has been recorded digitally. Yeah. It's been recorded digitally, either to digital audio tape or it's been recorded digitally to a hard drive. And so as long as you're not going backward in quality or in bit rate, you're not losing anything.
Well, I think it's funny too that Pro Tools a few years ago introduced, and that's a full digital format for recording. But they introduced a setting that will make it sound like it's on 2-inch tape.
Right. Yeah.
I thought, wow. So you really got the best of both worlds. You've got a digital recording that's very pliable and you can maneuver around it from a mastering standpoint, but yet you can make it sound like it was recorded on 2-inch tape.
But I'll defend CD all day long because doing mastering like I do, I can use the exact same wave files as long as they're not too loud, to do the vinyl and the CD. I can start both on my stereo. The CD is just crystal clear. You switch it over, and the vinyl is good. It's good.
Well, and then and I know probably one person that will argue to the death about that, and that's our boy Angry
Our buddy
Rob,
down south.
buddy down south. But you know, it's funny. He does ask me to burn him a copy on a CD every now and then, and so and then I notice that when he tries to make his compilations portable, he used to give me a tape, and now he burns me a CD. So.
Nice.
You know who you are. Peace, brother.
Yeah.
We won't get that vein popping.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
TJ says you have a rare Forebode first show bootleg.
Yes, I do. On CD. Ha ha.
Why are you holding out, Chief?
You gotta ask. You just gotta ask.
We need that here, please.
Okay. You got it. I'll download it with all the other local music that I was supposed to download a month ago.
Yeah. Cool. Well, man, that's all I've got for our trip through the different media formats that we've had. I think we pretty much hit the high spots. This is the only mini disc I have. I keep it for nostalgia's sake because I thought it was cool.
You just love Firehouse that much.
Give me the CD. This is my favorite.
I'm not going to argue the fact that the CD format is great. It is a great format, and it's super convenient, and it's sonically
superior is the word you're looking for.
It holds up to vinyl, yes. But anyway, it's cool to have them all. I mean, they all sound a little different, but once again, it's all personal preference, and it's all about matching your system. I mean, I don't know how people listen to stuff on their phone.
Oh, man.
I have a pair of studio grade Bluetooth headphones that when I go on the airplane or I travel or what have you,
right,
then it sounds at least like we're listening to a real stereo. But when I see people doing this and then listening to music like this, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I can't
do it.
The
$500 pair of earbuds.
Nice.
Well, that makes a difference. That's not listening to the phone.
Yeah.
The phone.
Yeah. Well, you listen to these. I mean, I've got the headphones too, but these are clips, and these are like $460. Some of the best headphones I've ever had for earbuds.
I've got $30 earbuds. Listen to me talking.
I have $9 earbuds. Guess what? They rule.
Now mine are at least Bluetooth. All right, boys. I think that does it. Wrapping up episode 45. Thank you, Monkey Butt, for hopping on board and hosting us. I feel like we've got the band back together.
Yeah, I posted this. I was going to see if you guys said anything about this when I put it down there. Do you even know what that is?
I don't know what that is. Phone autogram.
It is a mechanical analog sound waveform transcribed to paper or glass that was 1860 as the first physical instrument to listen to music.
One time I told I asked my Sunday school class, and yes, I teach a Sunday school class. I said, what if I told you I was going to drag a very precious stone across a piece of plastic and run it through a bunch of wires and have it sound like this? And I played an aria, an Italian aria, and everyone's like, oh my gosh. And I said, think about the technology and the thought process to put that whole idea together where we're dragging a diamond across in a groove that's been manufactured. I mean, it's so incredible.
Yeah.
And to your point about the thing from 1860, I mean, who comes up with this stuff? I mean, Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, whatever, Sir Isaac Newton.
I'm not smart enough. I didn't pay enough attention.
I don't know Einstein.
I know that.
Anyway, it's incredible. I'm glad we have that. I mean, even thinking about a tape, good grief, you're dragging a piece of magnetic film across a sendust metal, whatever. It's just, I'm just glad that we have it and we have something to talk about.
Yes. Well, guys, that is it for episode 55. If you are staying safe. We appreciate you so much. I hope you're doing whatever your local people want you to do, and you're being careful. It's a tough time for all our musician friends and everybody in the service industry and the music business. It's a very, very tough time. I did text Rob DeLuca to see if he was doing okay, and he's hanging in there. And then we've got some future guests coming up that I'll share when we get wrapped up. But and yes, check out the metalroundtable.com, by the way.
How about that?
Yeah. You know what time it is, boys.
Yes.
As
It's time.
always, until next time,
Metal
will
will
prevail.
prevail.